Hello BPSU and hello Peninsulares! I am your next door teacher who's not just teaches knowledge but also living a life lesson. So for today's video, we are going to the adventure capital of the Philippines, the home of Bicolanos. Are you excited? I am excited too. But before we start, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What comes to your mind when you hear the place Bicol? Yes, spicy foods, active volcanoes, shankel whale sharks, secret beaches, and so on. However, we are only focusing on how Bicol language is used in teaching as part of the 12 native languages in mother tongue-based multilingual education. But before we get there, let's take a look at the Bicol language. According to Bicol Initiative 2012, as in most Philippine languages, the Bicol language falls under the Austronesian family of languages, typically found in Southeast Asia and the Pacific. It is spoken by approximately 386 million people. Imagine that! 386 million people are speaking Bicol language. I can say that it was incredible. The dialects of the Bicol languages are further grouped into 4 major languages: the Northern Coastal Bicol language, Southern Bicol language, Central Bicol language, and Bisacol. However, aside from Bicol, those who live in the mainland of Bicol and Catanduanes are fluent in Filipino. Those who inhabit in islands of Masbate, especially those who trade with the other Visayan islands facing its shores, are also comfortable with Bisaya or Cebuano. At in tri-boundary of Quezon Province, Caluwag and Tagkayawan, Camarines Norte and Camarines Sur, Tagalog is also spoken. Trivia: English is also partly understood with the assimilation of Western culture in the country's policies in formal education. Now, I will going to discuss how effectively teach using Bicol language as medium of instruction. According to Winfield 2016, literature regarding mother tongue-based education identifies 3 key competencies as necessary for teachers to effectively teach mother tongue or the 12 languages. First, sufficient content knowledge. Second, an open-minded attitude towards the mother tongue. And third, knowledge of relevant pedagogical skills for language instructions. First, sufficient content knowledge. Since mother tongue languages are often excluded from schools, many teachers do not have the opportunity to formally study them. Educational projects that revitalize the orthography of the language or create the first orthography that exists for the language can present teachers with difficult challenges. This can create situations where teachers have gaps in their knowledge. Sometimes teachers do not know how to read or write in mother tongue, according to Paulson 2010. Of course, how can teacher deliver lessons and instructional materials if they are not familiar with the language? This is why sufficient content knowledge is essential. As Republic Act 10157, also known as the Kindergarten Education Act of 2012, stated that training is essential before using the student's native language as medium of instruction. Second, open-minded attitude towards the mother tongue. Teachers hold an instrumental amount of power over the success of mother tongue education project. Teachers need to have an attitude that values the target of mother tongue and sees schools as an appropriate space for its use and instruction. Otherwise, prejudice against mother tongue languages can manifest in teachers as a dismissive attitude towards mother tongues taught in schools. And it would be reflect to an attitude that can negatively impact classroom practice. Exactly. Teachers must have an open-minded and correct attitude towards the mother tongue because not only the students, but also teachers must become culturally sensitive. It is not just a requirement to teach in the native language. Teachers must understand that it is necessary for students' learning and not just another burden. That is why positive attitude is essential. And lastly, knowledge of relevant pedagogical skills for language instruction. Teachers who end up teaching mother tongues are not always experts in the language acquisition despite its being vital to student acquisition of the target language. Sometimes, formally trained teachers are not available. In my opinion, this is just one of the loopholes in implementing a mandatory use of native language as medium of instruction in specific places. Because how can teachers teach if they are unfamiliar with the language? But officials, on the other hand, ensure that this loophole is closed by training of teachers on how to use the specific language. So there you have it! The 3 necessary skills to demonstrate while teaching using Bicol language or any languages as medium of instruction. First, sufficient content knowledge. Second, open-minded attitude towards the mother tongue. And third, knowledge of relevant pedagogical skills for language instruction. Aside from that, we will give also focus about the language literature. But what is language literature? According to Pedia 2016, language and literature are 2 interrelated concepts. Language can be simply defined as the study of sounds, words, and sentence, whereas literature is the study of written work. The main difference between language and literature is that language deals with both spoken and written aspect, whereas literature mainly deals with the written work. Did you get the difference? Though they are interrelated, they also have differences. Language deals with both spoken and written, while literature mainly deals with written work. Now, let's focus on the word literature. Literature is simply defined as the study of written work. Sometimes literature is defined as an artistic art with a high and lasting artistic value. Literature is categorized according to various forms. It can be classified as fiction and non-fiction, or verse and prose. It can be further divided into major literacy formats such as poems, dramas, novel, and short story. But how can others appreciate literature when they don't understand the language? Don't worry! According to Mulik 2014, Dr. Ricardo Maduran Nolasco, professor at the Department of Linguistics in the University of Philippines, Diliman, and a leading advocate of the mother tongue-based multilingual education, agreed on a currently compelling need for quality instructional materials in local languages for the early grades. Nolasco said he was glad that local publishing institutions such as Watchtower Society were filling this need by producing reading materials and videos in local languages, including Filipino Sign Language, that can be used as supplementary materials to help pupils in their studies. I hope this statement answers our questions. There are people who are concerned about the acquisition of others. Previously, in an effort to help Bicol-speaking children understand moral values better, the Jehovah's Witnesses, through their legal arm, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of the Philippines Incorporated, translated into the Bicol language 2 publications designed for children. Ang sakuyang libro nin mga storya sa Biblia, or in English, My Book of Bible Stories, And ang sakuyang mga leksyon sa Biblia or in English, may Bible lessons. Ang sakuyang libro nin mga storya sa Biblia, which was first published in English, contains 116 accounts taken from the Bible, including popular stories of Cain and Abel, Abraham, Noah, and King Solomon. Isn't this a great news? Children in other places learn without fear or hesitation of using their native languages. Jacek said, "We believe that teaching and learning is best done through the student's native language. At an early age, children would be learning good values in a way that it is enjoyable for them. We believe these books will benefit more Filipino children if it is translated also into more local languages like Bicol." But what about the poem or poetry? Do they have their own version or another method of writing a poem? Have you heard the word tigsik? No? Alright. Tigsik is an oral form of poetry in Bicol recited on certain occasions, such as weddings, fiestas, baptisms, or even during courtship. The standard format shall be followed by 8 to 10 syllables per lines, 2 to 4 lines per stanzas, ranging from 4 to 5 stanzas, and participants should also provide a title. The tigsik should have properties of humor and satire, which may or may not rhyme. Okay, they have also their own version of literary. I hope next time we can write a tigsik as well. Before I end this video, I just want to remind you that teaching in their native language is not a waste of time. It is a form of professionalism and in some ways, a heroism because you or we are doing our best to learn their language for the sake of their learnings. And that's what teachers is, a hero. Always remember, you are a hero.